Welcome back to CBS This Morning. An exclusive CBS News investigation reveals many doctors who caused their patients harm are not facing discipline, and some appear to be repeat offenders. According to national statistics, less than 2% of doctors account for more than half of all malpractice payments, meaning a small number of physicians are responsible for a big problem. For our year-long investigation shot just before the pandemic, Jim Axelrod went to Indiana to examine what many in the field told us. State medical boards are protecting doctors instead of patients.
I'd never seen that much activity in a room after a surgery. Something medically just wasn't right.
Jeremy Payne is describing spinal surgery his 46-year-old mother, Regina Bruce, had in 2008 after she'd been rear-ended in a car accident. At the same hospital, Dawn Bell's father, Thomas Cox, went in for a spinal fusion. During the procedure, Dawn told us the surgeon had a problem.
During the surgery, he got sick.
Who got sick?
Dr. Swabeck.
Were you and your mom looking at each other like, what is going on here?
Yes. We're like, are you serious?
Both operations were conducted by an orthopedic surgeon, Dr. Steven Swabeck. The surgeries left Jeremy Payne's mother with her left leg paralyzed and Dawn's father with nerve damage.
And he proceeded probably to have 7 more surgeries trying to correct the nerve damage.
What is your feeling as your mom and your dad aren't quite right after surgery?
You're second guessing what's just happened.
Thomas Cox and Regina Bruce both reached medical malpractice settlements with Dr. Swabeck. Neither fully recovered. Both turned to opioids to manage their pain and later died.
It's pretty bad that people can get away with what they have in these situations.
People?
Doctors.
Doctors are licensed by state medical boards, panels made up almost entirely of fellow physicians. We spoke with more than 100 malpractice lawyers spread out over all 50 states and heard the same thing over and over. Medical boards do a good job weeding out doctors who've broken the law. But when it comes to malpractice, when doctors injure their patients, medical boards often look the other way.
We dug through state and court records and found that Dr. Swabeck lost his surgical privileges at 2 Indianapolis hospitals after his practice fell below the standard of care, and concerns were raised about his honesty and truthfulness. Swabeck lied about losing privileges to the Indiana Medical Board. Then there are the malpractice suits.
Dr. Swabeck has settled 5 suits over more than a decade, the most of any orthopedic surgeon in Indiana in the last 20 years. I don't know if you're aware of this or not.
Had no idea.
Are there dangerous doctors practicing medicine in Indiana?
Absolutely.
Tina Bell is an attorney in Indianapolis. She's been involved in cases against Dr. Swabeck, but agreements in court keep her from discussing him.
We have almost like this cloud of secrecy around the medical profession.
Is it possible to get into trouble and still maintain your license in Indiana?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Bell has worked both sides of the street. She spent more than a decade representing hospitals and insurance companies before moving to represent patients as a malpractice attorney.
Is the medical board protecting patients or protecting doctors?
I would say protecting doctors.
You're telling me a doctor can make a mistake 3, 4, 5 times and it doesn't affect their license?
Those are the doctors that worry me, and those are not the doctors that I'm seeing getting reprimands from the medical licensing board. So there is a gap where they're falling through the cracks somehow here in Indiana.
We wrote to Dr. Swabeck asking for an interview, but never heard back.
My name is Andy Bass. I'm a producer for CBS News.
So our producer found him where he's now practicing, in Florida.
Really, I don't have any comments to make about any of these questions, no.
You had a disciplinary action here in Florida about operating on a wrong hip that we saw?
No, it's not true.
That's not true?
No, sir. I have to go. I don't know where you're going to pay.
We got our information from the Department of Health, where records show that since relocating to Florida, Dr. Swabeck has been sanctioned 3 times, including for operating on a patient's right hip instead of his left. His penalty? A fine of $7,500.
As you might imagine, we had a bunch of questions for the Indiana Medical Board. After declining our request for an interview, We caught up with the doctor who serves as the chairman of that board. You'll want to see that tomorrow morning.
And we'll look forward to showing it to people, Jim. That's a great piece. Jim, any advice for people who want to check out their own doctor ahead of a surgery to know if there are any problems?
Yeah, that's actually one of the central points we get into tomorrow morning, how difficult that actually is.
All right. Looking forward to that, Jim. Thank you
very well played, Jim. When Dr. Salbach says to you, I don't know where you got your information, you go, well, I'll tell you exactly where
we got it from the Department of Health.
Department of Health.
Yeah.
It's very scary stuff.
Yeah, I know.
Nice job.
All right.